Hello everyone, my name is Ryan and welcome to the second video of the professional game review series. Today we'll be looking at the City League Finals again, where we have the board 3 game between Stephanie Yin 1P and Yuan Zhou 7 down. So this is the board 3 of the City League Finals, and I think this is one of the tournaments where we often neglect because it's during the first day of the US Go Congress, people are still arriving and it's often missed by many observers. However, the games are very interesting, and today I am definitely advocating for that. And apart from the very interesting game, we actually have a very special guest with us today. We have one of the players, which is also the captain of our team, the captain of New York City, Stephanie Yin. So, Stephanie, glad to have you here today.
Thank you, it's my pleasure. Hi, Ryan.
Okay, so today we'll have Stephanie giving us some comments while we review the game together.
Okay.
So why don't we dive right into it? Oh, before we start, so what did you think about this year's Go Congress site?
It's beautiful. The city is pretty next to the river. Actually, it's the lake.
Yeah. It's a beautiful campus. It was in Madison, Wisconsin, right? Yeah, it's a nice place. Yeah. We were really surprised, right? We walk in, since the City League is on the first day, right? When we arrive, typically it's the first time we get into the playing site, in the playing area. So it actually gave us a really good impression for this tournament.
It's a very beautiful city, and all the schedules are well organized, and it's very nice. It's one of my favorite Congress, actually.
And what about Yuan? Have you played him once before, right?
Last year. I played against him last year as well.
How did you feel about that game?
I barely remember what happened.
But you won.
Yeah, I won. The only thing I remember is I feel like he's a fighting style, and we fought a lot. And it happened in this game as well. Let's just get
okay, let's get right into it then. So you are playing black.
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason why I chose 3-4 point is because the 3-3 invasion is
you don't like being invaded.
I mean, I don't. I mean, it's not. I don't like it. It's like it's getting too complicated. So I'm trying to avoid the
So you also didn't avoid your opponent's 3-3 in this game as well.
No, because I watch your videos, so now I know all the variations of the 3-3. But still, it's still very complicated.
Well, I doubt you learned the variations from me. But okay, so this attachment is very interesting. So actually, we've seen a lot that for this opening, right? We have a large knight's enclosure in the top right here, facing this 3-4 point. Before the AIs, the high approach was very common, but after it seems that a lot of players like to approach low. And I think part of the reason is because a lot of time for this low approach, black likes to pincer, either the 3-space low or maybe even 4-space low. I've seen that sometimes as well. But now it's considered that when white gets the shoulder hit, locally it's actually slightly better for white. I think this is mostly seen through the percentages. And we kind of feel it this way because after white tanukis, it's hard for black to follow up here. So for example, if white defends the corner, if black extends up, there's obviously there's still a knight's move here, so it's easy to settle. And also if black attaches white, could obviously just Hane, Atari, and then just like a nice move.
Yeah. Is it because the further pincer? If the pincer on the R9, can white steal tanuki?
Yeah, even if the slow pincer, I think maybe it's not tanuki, but white can attach.
Right.
And I guess this is also a very annoying move for black. Locally, it's hard to follow up. And if black connects, then we can see in the simple variation, white takes the corner in sente and settles his group very well.
Right. Okay.
So the low approach is more common these days, I guess. I guess also for the reason that for the high approach, after this joseki, Black gets a lot of territory in this lower right? It's 15 points, and white doesn't have that big of an influence.
Yeah, so I actually like black better in this position.
Yeah, I also get the impression that most pros also like black better.
Territory.
Yeah,
a lot of terror. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess this attachment is also one of the newer moves. And then Tarian descend, so this is all normal. So after white cuts, white forces black to make this turn. So this is actually very interesting, right? Because if
it's an asking move, right? The cut.
It's a pro, right? So if white does this immediately, obviously there's an invasion, either high or low invasion to attack these 3 stones. But by cutting, it's a very interesting move because if black turns inside, it's actually locally it leaves a lot more agi, right? Because if white extends, there's a lot of liberties with the stones in the corner. So when white pushes on this side, it's almost all percente, and so white can push on this side and help develop.
I guess after that exchange in the corner, black is no longer able to hane on the head of 2. Right here. You
mean here, yeah.
Right.
So sometimes black can hane and fight, but now because there's so much aji here, this cut is very severe, so black can't really play this move anymore. Yeah,
because the liberty is very short.
Right. So after the cut, because this Atari is sente, after the cut, it's pretty much white can almost capture black soon, right?
Right. So if black extend the stone on the outside, and then white now is going to attach. Yeah,
attaching looks very severe right now.
Right.
So black can only Atari, but then white can hane.
Right.
And black is in real big trouble now.
Right. So so probably the 4 stones in the corner is already.
Yeah. So this is obviously really bad for black.
That's why after white cuts there, it forced black to turn first.
So this is So this is a very interesting concept of aji, I think we see here. When you have some territory, and you have a lot of forcing moves to your opponent, like this turn and this peep is all direct sente for white. And it leaves a lot of room for white to fight later on. So you're basically just owing your opponent money here, right? You have to give it back at some point.
Yeah.
So this is the type of play that is slightly more risky. So in this case, black typically doesn't want to do that. So black turns. Right. And after black turns, black can actually Atari here, which gives a very, very better, more solid corner, right?
Yeah, so if I don't turn that first, if I Atari directly, then that means I will give white a sente from
this
the
will give white the block and sente.
Yeah, that's not good for me.
Very inefficient corner in there. Yeah. So this is pretty much a joseki now, right? After the large knight's enclosure. We see this variation quite often played. So white comes back here, and I guess this is a pretty... I think it's happened quite a bit, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So it's a typical black taking 2 corners in sente, playing fast, and white has some influence. Yeah. So it's really key how white makes this right side influence into territory later, or how white develops further into the center later.
Right. Okay, so
at this point, were you feeling good for this game?
I feel pretty.
Yeah, you're the territory type, right?
Kind of between territorial and fighting, I guess. I'm not really like endgame type.
Yeah, I think you are a fighter.
I like to attack a lot.
Yeah. So this inside approach seems like a normal move, but I think there's actually a lot to it. So because here if
I guess if you're playing black, probably you're gonna jump to the 3/3 immediately.
Actually, it's actually difficult now, maybe, because the right sides are all settled.
Right.
If you invade in the 3/3, I think white might block and just capture the corner. And in this case, because the right side is mostly settled, the influence here is not so good. So if black extends here, white can either play the knight's move here or push. Probably play the knight's move.
That's why in the actual game I want to push white to the top area.
So you want white to play in this area because there's already black stones here. So it's a more narrow area. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And also I want to develop something on the left side so that I can limit the potential on the right side.
Yeah, because white has the 2 stones here. So the same goes for the lower right. Black definitely doesn't want to approach here because of this stone already being here. It's not a very good place to develop when you have this particular joseki in the lower right. So I think this is actually a very important thing to remember about this joseki is that after this joseki, neither player really wants this side, because after black makes this one space extension, it's not a very ideal side to develop.
Right.
So if you want to approach the lower left, you also want to play on
the other side, right?
As well. Okay, so approach here, and white pincered. So that's, I guess, something.
Yeah, he was trying to avoid that side as well, so that's why he pincered.
Yeah, so I guess if black invades the corner, it's something what white wants.
Right, that's too low. Everything. So all of my stones are on the third line. It's too low. Yeah, and now you can see there's a lot of potential in the center.
I think Sente at this point is important, right? Because this is the last corner.
Yeah.
Right? So both players are trying to get Sente here to play something on this side as well. Yeah. So the high.
Yeah, because I wanna balance my moves on the top area. I wanna have some of my stones on the fourth line, some of the stones on the third line. I don't want to keep them all on the third lines. That would be too low.
So you want to play a move from the corner. So if white attaches,
and then I will hane and then attach the corner.
So do this joseki.
Yeah, and later on I can use the descend and tari to develop more pinches
so if
on
white
the top.
goes on here now, you will descend immediately.
Yeah. And then I can use the
having this stone on the fourth line is slightly better, because here we have a third line stone, and if we have both third line stones, when you enclose territory here, it's going to be much smaller. But if you have fourth line stone and third line stone, when black extends later, it's easier to enclose a bigger territory. So leaving more potential there. Okay.
And also the fourth line move will help me limit the potential from the right side as well. Yeah. And in the actual game, he didn't play that joseki.
So he's fighting style. He's
I feel like in this game he's always tried to against my idea. So every time when I want white to do something, and he always say no, I don't want to do that.
There is that type of player, isn't it? Some players like to counterattack everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's a good habit, because when you're giving your opponent what they want, then typically they're getting too much, right? Because for higher level players, when they want something, you don't necessarily just want to give it to them, right? Unless they're making incorrect judgment.
Right.
But in this case, I guess this move is pretty aggressive, I think.
Since there's no stones on both
there's no
sides.
stones on either side, and we won't have black stone on this side.
Right. So it's kind of more risky for him to start a fight right now.
So
but there's a good advice for this kind of against this kind of players, because usually when you want your opponent to do something and then your opponent don't follow your plan, and you got not stressed out, but it's
you feel pressure.
Yeah, and
they're giving you pressure,
or feel anger.
Yeah.
So at that kind of moment, we need to control our emotion.
It's hard to stay calm when your opponent is just counterattacking you everywhere, not giving you anything on the board.
Yeah, but it is very easy to make mistake if we're very emotional at that time. Yeah. So whenever your opponent is not following your plan, it's fine. Just calm down yourself and then and start another plan.
Yeah, you don't want to make impulsive moves, I think, is what you're trying to say. Yeah, and at any point, it's useful to stay calm and make proper judgments. Yeah, I think that's really important.
Yeah.
So here you just extended and started the fight.
Right, because I have some stones on the top area.
Yeah.
And then white only has the 2 stones on the left side.
What do you think about the other joseki? If you attached. So in this case, white would probably have to hane here, and then here.
Kill the stone.
Yeah, and then black can hane, and then...
This is more peaceful.
Yeah. Can black hane here?
And in the actual game, I actually thought about this variation, but I thought white is going to take the corner instead of the tiger's mouth. to kill that stone.
Oh, okay. So if it was like this, you would be really happy.
Yeah.
It
so
seems
I would
pretty
definitely
good for
choose
black.
this joseki.
Yeah, because black takes Sentei, and also white hasn't gained too much here. And also black still has potential on the right side and taking the last corner here.
Yeah.
So black is playing a very fast opening, we can see. So I would definitely take black as well. Yeah. So you were saying that here white would probably descend.
I was a little bit worried about this move because since I made it two exchange moves on the top, it is kind of harder for me to pull that stone out. And if
you extend,
he's gonna break the elephant eye.
So if you hane, then
and he probably is gonna, I don't know, squeeze. No, maybe that's a bad exchange move.
Yeah, it seems maybe a bit dangerous for black.
Right, because he.
But I mean, if this is a very risky move as well, right?
Yeah.
If you can't capture, then white will lose a lot as well. Yeah, so this would take a lot more reading in this variation. Right?
Yeah. So if I'm not comfortable to pull this stone out, then I'll have to make that exchange move on the top. Sorry. Yeah, the one space jump to sacrifice that stone.
So you would make this jump. And
then,
this would be a lot better for white than before, because now here, black is kind of owing the move. Because not getting this hane at c18, this group is very hard. It doesn't have any eye space now. So if black were to play on the other side now, when black invades here, it's putting an attack on this group now. So it's actually the c18 is a very important wild point in this case.
Yeah.
So making this move, you would really have to make sure that black can extend out and fight before making this attachment.
Yeah.
So there's really a lot of variations that you have to see. Even for some simple joseki, you have to kind of consider all of these things.
Right, compare all the possibilities. So if I'm not able to pull that stone out and then not sacrifice, but let a white take all the territory and then extend on the side, but the territory is still very small. That's why. That's why I decided to just start the fight right away.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the typical fighting variation now we see, and then hane block and target. Okay. Yeah, so this is all forced, right? There's no options for either player. I'm not actually sure about this.
Yeah, since there's a ko in the corner, I feel like this group is very light.
So this black group can be considered lighter because even if white surrounds it, black can start the ko, and black can still play two moves elsewhere and sacrifice this.
Yeah, but since this is very early, I'm afraid of the ko threat. So if I choose to tanuki right now, first of all, there's no very good move for me to play. But second, if white enclosed there, then if I start a ko, I'm not sure where the good ko threat. Yeah, that's why I'm still thinking about the attachment move. So
yeah, the attachment move seems to give white a lot of strength, right? It's a little vulgar, right? Because it's a very direct move. It's just getting out in sentei.
Yeah.
But you did get this
descent.
Move. Yeah, this descent is super big, right? It puts a lot of pressure on white's move.
That's why I played attached, because I really want to play that move to take all the eye space away from white as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much like
This is pretty much just fighting now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm giving more cash first now because I attached and I give more territory on the left side.
Yeah. So to get this F17 descend move, you gave up a lot of cash here on the side.
Right, because
a lot of potential.
If I don't attach there, the C12 is only one stone there, and
the side is so strong now. And there's a lot of potential.
Right.
Yeah. But I guess it's still unclear who's better because we're just kind of in a very complicated fight.
In Go game you can't get everything you want. Yeah, of course you have to give something to your opponent first. Sometimes.
So yeah. So it's really how much you're giving, right?
Okay, I was kind of surprised of this move.
Yeah.
Usually when
you don't want to let black play the nice
enclose
move.
that.
I don't really like white's move here.
But if he plays this move, and I would probably play the large knight's move.
Large knights.
Yeah, either large or small knight. I was trying to enclose on the top.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess there's some weaknesses there.
There's an attachment here. But I think no matter what, white should probably defend here, right? Because going out, it puts pressure on black, but this is pretty much alive. So I mean, if black can enclose very comfortably, because no matter what black plays, there's a lot of agi here, and potentially just attachment. So it's kind of letting black get even more first, and then before even getting anything, right? So this move, it's unclear what white will gain, but it's very clear that black is gaining a lot by this move. Yeah. So I think this move can be questionable.
And it's still very hard for white to attack my group in the center. The group with the ko.
This group, is because there's still a ko, black can start this at any time. So even if this gets enclosed, or even while white is attacking this group, black can start the ko and escape. So there's like a back door almost for black. So this is not a very easily attackable group.
And also that color is not very heavy.
It's not very heavy. So gaining a lot here. Attaching to connect. And then going back to the top right. So you're really taking a lot of money here.
Yeah. A lot of turns.
Yeah, so this is a very interesting move, right? Because normally you don't want to play a third line peep, right? Almost when your opponent has a fourth line still. Because when your opponent blocks, it really hurts that initial stone. But in this case, this is a very good way to sacrifice the 2 stones. Because normally if black slides out, then when white presses black down, black would have to crawl on the second line at least probably multiple times in order for this to live. And white would be very happy with that.
Yeah, because once he gets some stones on the top, my group in the center is getting weaker and weaker.
So this is actually a very flexible way of playing, because here it's saying, well, if you want to capture it, you can capture it small. But if if white captures this, it's actually very easy. So these 2 stones are dead, but it's relatively small, because after black makes these exchanges, black also gain a lot of points. So it's kind of there's actually a very interesting saying that I really like. I don't want to say like chicken bones, but it's kind of like it, right? So you have the idea is that you have some meat on the chicken, but it's not too much meat. So it's not like chicken. It's not like a drumstick meat. It's like the chicken. There's a tiny amount there. If you go and eat it, it's probably not worth your effort. But if you leave it, you feel, maybe I'm wasting. So it's kind of that mixed feeling. And I really like that saying, because here is pretty much what white feels, right? If white captures this, it's kind of small. Also gives black this. But if you leave it, it just gives black a much cleaner way of connecting back. So that's a very good move, I think.
Thank you. I'm glad you like this move.
So I really like that move.
And then
so white actually haned here. That was a mistake, right?
I think he's trying to do something. That's why he haned. So he's he's
trying to attack probably.
Yeah.
So this hane move is obviously a sacrifice, because this stone is dead after it gets cut off. But the benefit white gets is because of white will definitely not play here now. But we can see here, because of this move, these moves are sente. Because after this, if black ignores, when white crawls under here, these 3 black stones are actually captured. So because of this, white gets sente moves, which means later when white attacks this group, black cannot use any move to cut white in this case.
Right.
But I think this is a pretty big loss, though. And
yeah,
it kind of just gives your opponent something.
Because after that exchange, there's no sente on the right side anymore.
Yeah, it kind of gives your opponent something without really getting something obvious again. So it's kind of the deal with this move. And I think white's putting too much emphasis on this group, even though it's got this ko, right? So if white fixes the ko, obviously black can just escape. And if white encloses, then black can just start the ko at any time and then escape. Yeah. So it's not a very easy group to attack.
I don't think, I think making that exchange for white is too risky at this moment.
Yeah, I think white should probably jump out. It's a pretty good forcing move, because black probably has to do some more second line moves just to connect back. And I think this stone could also be important for the center later. So this stone, not only loses territory, but also gives black eye space.
Right.
So when black's group is stronger, there's not really any more forcing moves here. So I think this move, it kind of let this group get strong. And now black really only has to worry about this, right?
Right. So if he jumps here, I I probably would Tanuki. I mean, without that exchange.
Without the exchange? Oh, you were going to Tanuki.
Because if I respond that move, I have to play the second line jump, and then white has the sente.
What if white plays the second line jump though? Is this I didn't read this out, so I'm not sure. So if white can't kill this group, then perhaps this is also a bad move.
I will play the nice move. So locally, it's dead. But
it's hard to kill.
Since white still have some weaknesses on the outside.
But it's kind of complicated now. If white blocks, then locally it's dead. But when black cuts, there's this ko.
Yeah. But I do have some local ko threat.
Black has some local ko.
Yeah, I haven't I was not sure whether I'm gonna respond, but it feels uncomfortable to respond that move.
Yeah, black really doesn't want to do this jump.
But like you said, white definitely should play the one space jump.
I think at this point there are two big moves. One is maybe this one space jump here, because when black hanes and double hanes, this is a very uncomfortable shape for white. So if white ignores this and takes some big move, this is probably the next biggest move. Right? So if white plays here, black might hane and double hane, and here the shape is slightly uncomfortable.
Right.
But I think this is probably something that both players would want right now.
Yeah.
It's like an expansion side for
both sides. Yeah.
So I probably think this is the biggest. So maybe if that's not sente, if this
but you never know since your opponent is attacking style. And this is a more peaceful move.
Okay. Well, I attack sometimes.
I feel like you're more attack and endgame style, kind of.
I'm more counterattack style, maybe.
Yeah,
I like to pressure my opponent more.
You barely start attack first. Yeah, so whenever your opponent start attacking, you think it's more aggressively, and then you counterattack.
Yeah. I try to do that, and maybe it's because like whenever I start an attack, it always fails.
If there's any like a 7-down watching this game, you should remember this next time when you play against Ryan. Keep it in mind.
Okay.
Never start a fight, and then just play a peaceful game, and then wait for him to start a fight.
Okay,
I don't think
you guys should listen to that. Don't listen to that.
Alright, see, he started to attack these two stones now.
Yeah, it seems that it's changed a little bit because after he making this exchange, he didn't really directly attack this group, but instead came here. But this move seems a little. It seems not the right place because here white is already making a very weird shape. Because after black extends, white has to cut like this, and there's already a very obvious weakness. So this connection is always going to be center because there's this peep here. So
in the actual game, I didn't respond that move immediately. I played attach first.
Yeah, so the attaching is a good way to play lightly because black doesn't really have to respond. So black can ask for white to see how you will respond first. So that's what you did. And then hane. Very nice light move, I think. Right?
I was not trying to get myself in a very direct fight right now.
It's easy to get sticky here. Because if black doesn't deal with this group well and makes white very strong, then there's also that group, right? Because white can fix this ko any time, and if this is very strong on this side, then this group could get very dangerous very fast.
Right. So in the actual game, I feel these moves white played were very aggressively, but at the same time, I was scared. Because I have so after white cuts up here, and I have 3 weak groups, and if I don't deal with them all well, then probably I will lose one of the groups, and then I will probably be losing territory. Yeah,
there is a lot of pressure when your opponent is doing something like that, because white is pretty much going all out. But I think here white also has a lot of things to worry about, because here there's this push and cut weakness. One, there's the corners are already a lot weaker, because after black can push and cut, white would have to target here, and then this descent is pretty much sente. So white also has a lot of things to worry about. So I think this is That's why we say like this is kind of like a very aggressive move because first it makes your own shape bad, and then
the tricky part at this moment is you never know when you should use all the senteis. So like Ryan said,
or which senteis to use,
right. So like you said earlier, the descent is the sentei, but I actually cannot use it right now to protect my 4 stones because my 4 stones on the top.
Right, this would hurt the side.
Right. So
there is really a lot to consider for every move because you don't want to hurt the other groups too much, and you don't want to get captured as well.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to find another way around to solve this issue, this problem.
So, white Atari'd, and then protected the weakness, but then this allowed black to connect back, and now black is a lot stronger now. So I think I don't really like this exchange because now it makes black very strong. And although this fixes weakness, so perhaps white could still do something on that side.
I think the reason why he made that exchange is because he wants to attack my 4 stones now. Because the liberty of the 4 stones are getting short.
And this is the vital point to attack the 4 stone.
Yeah. So at this point, I'm actually very nervous because if I decided to save the 4 stones, and then I'm not sure what's gonna happen to my group on the left, right? So if I just simply Atari and connect, then the white will have chance to enclose there. Maybe
why not play the tiger stone? Let's play the tiger stone.
Oh, tiger stone. Okay, yeah.
And then white will enclose this. Yeah.
So I'm not sure about the group on the left side. It's pretty dangerous.
I guess it's a lot. It's at least Ko, but Ko might not be good for black.
And then if I don't save the 4 stones, if I jump out and to protect my group on the left side, my 4 stones are
these are almost dead.
Almost dead, yeah.
So if you slide out, white can still attach.
Yeah. So at this moment, I started thinking a lot, and it took me at least 10 to 15 minutes to decide. And usually how we have a 1 hour basic time,
base time,
and then 30 minutes,
30 second 3 times. Byoyomi.
So both of us are at this moment will have I think 20 minutes left. Yeah.
So this is pretty much like almost like this is really we're really getting into kind of the mid game, right? This is not even the start, almost near the end of the mid game, because after these fights, we're pretty much going into end game already.
So because of the time pressure, I don't want to use all of my time in the mid game because I have to pretty much play my end game in the Byoyomi, and the Byoyomi is only 30 seconds per move and 5 times, and then
5 times, sorry.
Yeah. So if I'm not really type of Byoyomi player because on 30 seconds is actually very quick.
Yeah, 30 seconds is quite quick, and if you play a lot in the active tournaments, they're typically 60 seconds, right? A lot of the Byoyomi time is 60 seconds per move, and that you'll be much more comfortable. And yeah, 30 seconds, it's very easy to make mistakes.
Yeah, that's why I want to leave at least 5 to 10 minutes for my end game.
Or at least consider something, read some variations
right.
before going into Byoyomi so you can deal with some things.
Right, so at this moment I'm getting very nervous.
And I guess this is a good time to spend your time, right? Because this is really going to decide how you're going into endgame. Because this fight, after this fight, it's going to decide whether if this group dies or if everything lives for black, then obviously white would have a big deficit in territory because black has a lot of territory right now. So this is a good. I think this is a good time to spend the free time that you have and try to use it to your advantage.
So in the actual game, I decided to
after you played a very bold move,
counter-attack.
Yes, so this move is it's basically condemning your opponent to death. With this move, right?
Yeah.
So for the viewers, it's probably not obvious, right? Because it's just an Atari. But this move, after this move, when black pushes, this kind of got rid of the eye potential on this side for black. So after this exchange, black has to decide either to give up the right side and capture the center, or
there's
what
no
you did in the game,
right? Yeah,
and you saw this move before playing that,
right? Yeah,
because these are all forcing moves by black. There's really no options for white before this point.
So I actually cannot sacrifice the 4 stones. That will be too big.
So yeah, this seems a little big. White can capture big here.
Right. So white gets all the territory on the side.
Yeah, what white captured is much more than what black captured in the center.
And then before the next game, even though I saw the move before I Atari'd, but still I spent another 10 to 15 minutes to read out all the variation, because that's pretty much after I start my next move. Is very straightforward. It's either going to be I'm going to get killed, or I'm going to capture my opponent's stones group.
So it's an all in at the poker table,
right?
Yeah.
So it's all in.
So we can probably see in a little bit. So when black Ataris, white has to escape, because this is an absolutely vital stone. White cannot let the stone to get captured.
I always read 5 times before I start Ataring here, because there's only 1 liberty difference. So after this, white gets enclosed. So it's really up to the outside now, because now white is at a 1 liberty deficit. If white, is it only 1? Yeah.
If white reduces on the outside, seems like more than 1.
No. White is going to connect first. Hold on. Yeah. So after this,
connect.
Let me see.
Oh, white wouldn't connect. White would it reduce this one, and then when black Ataris, this is 1 liberty.
So if he didn't,
so more than 1 liberty.
If he didn't hide it there, that's 1 liberty.
Oh, right. Yeah, I keep reducing my own liberties for some reason. Yeah. Well, still more than 1 liberty.
Let me see. So can you go back? What if white extend here? Oh no, white is going to fight against the 4 stones on the bottom.
Oh, okay. Oh, so that was the 1 liberty.
Yes, but there's still a ko.
Yeah, so we can see in the center fight, if this center group races against this black group, then white is behind by more than 1 liberty. Because black has the eye, and white cannot make an eye. So, white can, but it's going to reduce your own liberties. Yes, but white can cut on the sides, I guess. So at this point, before black making this move, it's really all in, because if something on the outside dies, for example, if white cuts and captures something on the outside, then this group naturally dies with it. And this is obviously game over. So basically, it's down to the wire, and both players have to do something. Or you basically have to win this, right? If you lose this, you lose the game.
Right.
It's as simple as that.
Game is over.
So you really have to read it well. And you did in this game, which is quite impressive. I think this is quite a lot of reading.
My right hand was shaking when I was pushing all the way to the top, because I was so worried I misread the whole sequence. Because after white cuts, it's pretty much very straightforward, and black descent is a 5 liberty versus a 5 liberties, and a white goes first. But the funny thing is, most interesting in the capture race right now is white is not able to reduce any of my liberty. That's why I'm 1 liberty a lot.
Yeah, so that's the very interesting thing in this shape now, because after white cuts, it seems black doesn't have many liberties. So when black descends, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right now. But white can't actually reduce any of these 3 liberties in order to enclose.
Right.
So that's the big issue here. So if white does this, black can obviously jump out, and none of the other ones work. And I'll leave you guys to verify that. So white cut, and that's a tricky move, because if black were to jump, normally then this would be sente.
Yeah.
So then white can
reduce my liberty.
More liberties, one of these liberties. So this is all very complicated reading at this point. So white tried a little bit, but I guess none of that worked. Because again, none of the liberty reductions were. And we can see in the center, white has exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 liberties. So if white were to just jump, then when black reduces, then white's done. and there's nowhere else to
even though
gain.
white can connect, but it's still 5 liberties.
So white connects, then it's still 5, and it's black's turn, so it still reduces to 4, and black still has 5 liberties, so white's still 1 short right now.
Yeah, so as long as black doesn't give white a center at J5 right here.
So as long as this spot isn't sente, then white cannot reduce any of these 3 liberties.
Yeah. Even though white can reduce the liberty from the left side, but black is able to jump out and get more liberties.
So when white plays here, black will jump out and get a lot more liberties.
Yeah.
So why were you so nervous? Were you not confident in our games?
I mean,
board 1 and board 2
I
games?
know. Okay, come on. Of course, I trust you guys, but I want to. Yeah. So in order to be secure, I want to win my game.
Yeah, of course. But I just think normally when a pro makes sure they read something, you would be really confident, or you would slam the stone down, or when you play that move, you'll be really confident. But I guess in this case, you're pretty nervous because maybe I think you told me before you were kind of nervous even before the game started because it was been a while before you trained and you played serious games. So maybe that was one of the factors as well.
Yeah, and I barely play a very serious game nowadays. Because I spend my most of my time teaching on students.
But you did go to the Chonglong Mountain
and Go Second.
And the Go Second game. So you only compete in the higher tier tournaments now.
Yeah, but still, even though I'm not playing any games nowadays, but I do some life and death questions every day in order to train my reading skills as well, since I'm attacking style, and I can't get messed up on any serious fight like this.
Yeah. So at this point, after reading that very clearly. Obviously, in a real game, you won't be able to play everything out, but you would have to see everything up to this point before making the Atari, and that's quite a bit of reading. Yeah.
And I'm sure for other pros in this kind of a fight, if they start to fight and start the liberty in the mid game, most of them or all of them will be very nervous because. Yeah. We know we're gonna win the capture rates, but still you're
like
very.
It's nerve-wracking. It is. You read it, but it hasn't been played out, so there's always a chance to misread or something you didn't see. There's always that uncertainty there, even though you're telling yourself, "I got this."
Yeah.
But who knows, right? Yeah, I definitely feel that. Yeah. So that's a pretty big factor as well. Yeah, but now, after this is pretty much game over. So maybe we'll just finish up to the very end. Oops, sorry.
Let's go back to...
let's go back to this variation. So in the game, white made a little bit more resistance, but none of those worked. And
he's also already in the Byoyomi time.
So he's also in Byoyomi. Okay. And were you in Byoyomi as well?
I think I still have a couple more minutes left. Okay. Around 10 minutes left.
But at this point, you don't really need any time because this is pretty much a finished game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just made a couple more exchanges. And actually the ladder doesn't even work for
white.
Yeah. Okay, so very, very interesting game. And I think the fighting is a pretty good for the viewers as well because it's not really common for pros to have like this really complicated fighting game, and even less common when someone really commits to something because as Stephanie said, when you know you read something, if you're ahead, you kind of feel nervous, and sometimes you don't even play out this very these dangerous variations.
That's true. Yeah. Hey, but. I won this Liberty fight, so yeah.
I think, but on the other hand, when you win a game like this, it's very happy because, like, you pretty much killed your opponent almost like everything, right? So it's a very clear way to win the game.
That's true. Yeah.
Even though that there's that nerve-wracking moments, it pays off at the end. I think.
At that moment, I feel like I know there are many people watching our games, but I don't feel them. I just feel I was seeing the Liberty fight. That's it. That's the moment. I can't feel anyone. So some of the players commented on this game after we finished and said, when people walk in, do you feel that? Do they bother you? And then I actually don't know they're here.
Yeah, sometimes you're just so focused on the game that when people walk by, you're not even really noticing, just because you're so focused. You're only thinking about variations in ghost stones right now. So I guess that just really says how focused you are and how nervous you are.
I'm sure that happens to everyone when you're in a very serious fight and
I think many
you
players
can barely hear anything around you.
Yeah, I mean, and you really need to, because you really need to concentrate on what's going on in the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was a very interesting game, and thank you so much, Stephanie, for joining me today to help me review the game. So, if you enjoyed the review, give us a like.
Thumbs up.
And that's it. We will see you next time.
See ya.